Hi everyone, and welcome to Macroeconomics Week 2 or Module 2. This week we are going to be focused on supply and demand, and if you notice, the first two modules of the course say Basic Economics, and we are still in the Basic Economics portion of the course. Next week we dive headfirst into some more macroeconomic specific modules the rest of the way, but we have to give everyone a foundation in basic economics first. So here's what to expect this week. We have a soft chalk here, which is going to cover the basics of supply and demand. Make sure that you work through that very diligently, taking notes, etc. And then the assignments this week, there are two assignments. One is a supply and demand local research assignment, so it has you going out into your local community and looking at two different businesses that you engage with on a continuing basis and seeing how supply and demand both affect that business. And then the other one is just a very simple supply and demand worksheet to make sure that everybody's on the same page with how the supply and demand market works generally. One quick thing, so even though you're going to be basically experiencing this as basic economics, supply and demand, it may not be talking about what we normally think about as macroeconomic issues. It might not be talking about large-scale changes in the economy, which you might be thinking we're going to eventually talk about in here, which is true. I might be talking about an individual's decision to buy this or buy that, or what's going to affect someone's purchasing habits. And that's okay, because in order to understand how an economy works as a whole, you do have to understand how individuals work, and that's why we want to look at supply and demand first, just on a basic level, before we move forward to aggregate demand and supply, which is going to come later in later modules. Okay. After those two assignments, we do have Newton activities this week. Remember that we do not have a textbook for this course, and these Newton activities are sort of taking the place of that. You should be, if you get to a question that is that you're not sure about, you should be hitting I'm stuck. There's a little button there that says I'm stuck, and it takes you to some pages that are hopefully an engaging way to figure out the material for the questions. There's videos, charts, and graphs, and just a little bit more of a engaging way to get some content. I will say that there are quite a bit of Newton activities this module, by far the most of any module, and that's just because supply and demand is so fundamental that we really just have to have a command of it before we can move forward. So you can see there are 6 Newton activities. That's a lot. It's definitely a lot, and so what I'm going to do is give you guys 2 weeks to finish those assignments. So you will not be marked off if they are not done after 1 week, but we do need to make sure that we understand this material. Okay. And then last but not least, obviously there's an assessment, a short little 10-question assessment in every module. So that's it. Take your time this week. Approach it as I am providing myself with a foundation with which to understand the later modules, and I think you'll do great. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to me by email or text, and I hope you have a great week.